So suspended second chords, or Sus2 chords, as you might have seen them written, they're a great variation to add to your sort of chordal repertoire, and they sound particularly good. They sound good at any sort of style, but they can particularly sound good on more overdriven sounds, because if you play sort of regular triads, full voicings, it can sound muddy. Now, this is super subjective, and what one person says is no good, the other person loves. So, take it with a grain of salt. The whole point today is we're going to look at extending your chord vocabulary by looking at Sus2 chords. Let's get into it. So let's do a little bit of theory. It's worth, if you don't know much theory, try not to skip past this. It's really not that long, and it's not too complicated. Okay, so if we really simplify things, sort of oversimplify things for the sake of the example, I'm going to look at just major and minor chords, not diminished, not augmented. So major and minor chords, you've got a 1, a 3, and a 5, which really means you're taking the first, third, and fifth notes of, say, the major scale, and you're using those as a chord. So if you're in C, use a C, E, and G, skipping D, which is the second, skipping F, which is the fourth. It's just numbered up the scale. Those three notes give you a triad, either a major triad or a minor triad, depending on what quality the third is. Okay, so as an example, on guitar, 6 strings, if you played a full E chord, you're playing 6 notes, but only 3 different notes, because you're repeating the E, in this case, 3 times, okay? So you've got E, G sharp, and B. It's still a 1, 3, 5. Say a D chord, 1, 3, 5. You're playing 4 notes, but only 3 different notes, because in this case you're doubling the D. 1, 3, 5, D, F sharp, and A. Now, a suspended second chord means you suspend the third. You don't play the third at all. Instead, you play the second. So if you look in G, for example, you've got a G, B, and D, typical sort of G chord. If you wanted to do this as a suspended chord, you wouldn't play the B, you would play an A. 1, 2, 5. Okay, that is a G sus2. Okay, now there's 2 types of suspended fourths and suspended second. It's the same thing in terms of you're not playing the third, you're replacing it, you're suspending it, and bringing in either the second or the fourth. They do bring a little bit of tension in. I find the fourth definitely wants to resolve, feels like it wants to resolve a lot more than a sus4 wants to resolve more than a sus2. Okay, so with a little bit of that theory out of the way, we're going to look at replacements or variations on all the chords that you know in the open position. Okay, so let's start with A. Again, because we're suspending the third, it can be an alteration or a variation for A major or A minor. Doesn't matter. So if you take an A major sound, okay, what you can do is play this voicing. Okay, so in this case, the third's on the B string. So you suspend it and you bring in the open B. Beautiful sound there, and it really cleans up the sound a little bit. Depends whether you're doing 6-string, 5-string, or 4-string variations. But the point is, sometimes when you bring the third in, to my ears, it's just a little bit muddy, sort of too much in the too much there to be sort of clear. Can sound great, of course. It's used in a million variations and it does sound great. But again, these are just variations. Okay, so that's A. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do C. Everyone knows people affectionately call these cowboy chords. I find that voicing actually hard to play. I never play it. It's my least favorite chord voicing on the guitar. Anyway, as a variation, I guarantee you already know C sus2, okay? And it's this one. Really great sound in medium, high gain, clean of course as well. Okay, that's C sus2. All right, let's keep going up. Instead of a D major chord, take your second finger off and you've got D sus2. All right, let's go down to G. Instead of doing a G chord with the open B, or even worse than that on electric at least, is adding the B here. Again, for me, that's really, really muddy. You can play this voicing. Okay, you can also bring in the octave if you want as well. And all you're doing is adding your first finger on the A there. Okay, in terms of open chords, you've kind of only got E left. Again, doesn't matter whether it's major or minor, because the whole point is you're removing the third, which is what defines it as major or minor. And you're bringing in the second. In this case, you can do it this way. So in this case, I'm adding my pinky on the F sharp. I'm muting the G string with the bottom flash part of my fourth finger there. Okay, and these can be really great when you start arpeggiating things. You know, those sorts of things, add some delay in chorus or whatever, or just straight rock out. But Sus2 chords can really give your chords some more body without the muddiness. All right, let's quickly look at the bar form variants as well. So we're looking at the open chord variants, and there are a lot of them with the Sus2s. They sound great. But you can do the same thing with bar chords. So remember A Sus2. If you move that into a bar form, it's easier to play. It's like a power chord, but you just bar the last two strings there. All right, here's a nice voicing as well, sort of a bonus for the hardest bar chord there is, which is F. Okay, because it's difficult to play, a lot of people will wrap their hand around this way, so they just won't play the root note. Okay. If you lift your second finger off and play that G string open, you've got an F Sus2. Beautiful sound. I love that voicing. And then you can muck around with them, you know. So suspended seconds, such a great sound. Again, sounds good with any tone, clean, distortion, anywhere in between. Acoustic guitar, electric guitar, 12-string guitar. Sounds fantastic. For me, they give a certain character of the sound, which is different to major and minor, which is great alone, but they can also sound a lot less muddy than having a major or minor third in, particularly on heavier sounds, but not, it doesn't have to be that way. So again, add them to your chord vocabulary and bring them in whenever you want. Mix and match. Try it out. Good luck. See you next time.